He the politician, behind bars entertainment, CCG Network Radio. You are now rocking with the Get Rich Rapping podcast with my mans, Daniel Scott, a.k.a. Esskimo. Don't get mad, get motivated, bitches.
What's good, people? It's Esskimo of GetRichRapping.com. Get Rich Rapping podcast. We are back once again, and this week I have got an absolute treat for you. In a corner of the internet, in a spot of the internet, a certain scene in the internet, you probably already know who this is. It's Johnny Fame of hiphopmusicpreneur.com, and you're going to have a treat today. Like I say, this one's going to be special. So without further ado, who is Johnny Fame and what difference does he make in the game?
Hey, what's good, man? First, I want to tell you I appreciate you having me on.
Hey, no
I've been
problem,
looking forward to this for a while.
No doubt, man. It's a pleasure.
So, I'm the founder of hiphopmusicpreneur.com. I show independent artists how to market and promote themselves online, but I do it specifically through psychological, influential, and persuasive content marketing. So, basically, I show them how to use those aspects to be able to market their content more than market, their music and their content's the same, but I want to teach them how to use content to attract people to their music. So my goal is to show artists how to turn strangers into fans and fans into super fans with content that grabs the attention of their audience to get them to listen to their music and eventually buy it. And that's why I chose the name Hip Hop Musicpreneur. A hip hop musicpreneur is a music entrepreneur in the hip hop genre. And I wanted to create a space where artists can learn what I believe is the most important part of music business, and that's marketing and promotion. And a lot of people don't know, but record companies spend more money on marketing and promotion than on any other aspect when they're trying to bring a new artist out. And there's a reason for that. Without an audience, you don't make money. You need an audience, and the only way to get that audience is through marketing and promotion. And everything I teach is backed up by research and studies, and I present it in a way that's easy for them to understand. I started studying marketing, copywriting, influential psychology, and persuasive psychology when I was 15 years old. And what's most important is that I love the hell out of what I do. I love the feeling of being able to teach something to a struggling artist and to help them get real results. It's just one of the best feelings ever.
Absolutely, man. I think what you do, and I know as well how important it is like there's so many people out here that claim to do something along these lines, you know what I mean, but the way you do it is unique to you. Like if anybody's got Johnny Fame on Facebook, you'll recognize his posts instantly because of the way he does it, and I really appreciate what you bring to the game. Not everybody, like I said, there's a lot of people that, I'm an expert marketer and all these things, but like your shit is like always on point, 100%, and it's real results. And people tell you, I see it all the time, man. People say, oh yeah, I used this that you said, and I managed to build this many followers in this much time. So I think it's glad to have you in the game, man. I think we need more people like you.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. No doubt. Yeah, there's a lot of artists, that do contact me, and they tag me and stuff and let me know all the results they're getting from learning from me, and it's a great feeling. I love it. It's different. It's like I'm living a dream. I love to teach, and that's what makes me keep doing what I do.
Absolutely, man. But yeah, because obviously, I remember we had a conversation before where you were sort of floating around on social media for a bit, and then all of a sudden you just went poof, everything just started happening. So what was really going on in your life, and what brought you to that decision to say, I'm going to be the guy for music marketing online?
At the time, I was just living a normal life, working a regular 9 to 5, and I had a few, I had a side business on the internet, but, I felt like I had no purpose in life. I felt like I wasn't doing anything to make a difference in people's lives. And I thought to myself, I have all this knowledge and experience in marketing and creative persuasive content, and I'm not doing a damn thing with it. You know what I mean? And I've always been a music lover, and I followed a lot of independent artists. Most of them were unknown. So one day I decided to start doing research on what I could do to change my life while at the same time help other people change their lives. And that's when it hit me. I noticed that almost all the artists that I was following were getting little to no attention. So I started to look for more artists to follow to see if there was a common theme going on, to see if they were all getting the same type of results. And I realized there was. They all had similar struggles, and I realized that I had the answers to those struggles, and that's right there is how Hip Hop Musicpreneur was born.
Nice, man. Because that's the thing, is it's such a common. The problems are common. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, everyone will have a unique situation that they're going through, like personally or whatever. But as far as putting yourself out there and getting your music out there, I wouldn't like to say that there's a one-size-fits-all formula, but it's very similar in a lot of the goals that everybody has to break down. They're coming across a similar problems. So,
Exactly.
what would you say is the first and most important step that an independent artist needs to take?
The first most important step, I believe that before anything, they need to know who they are and what they have to offer as an artist. And they also have to research their audience and find out exactly what content they're interested in and give it to them.
Yeah.
When they give their audience what they want and need, they'll start to build a personal bond with them, which makes them feel like they can trust you. If it makes them feel like they know you, and when you're able to inject that feeling into their minds, when an artist takes the focus off of themselves and starts to become fan focused, when you show interest in them by giving them what they want, that's when the magic happens. That's when they start to show interest in the artist and anything they have to offer. It's all about building relationships through content that influences their actions and their beliefs about you, about the artist. You want to make them, you want to influence their beliefs about you as an artist. And aside from that, they need to make sure they have all their ducks in a row. They need to make sure that before they ever put a song out, that they're registered with ASCAP or BMI and SoundScan to make sure all their music is copywritten. And they need to move on from there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's a problem that I come across as well with a lot of artists, whether they're clients or just people hitting me up. It's always like people are asking me about how do I promote myself, and then I say, okay, so what are you promoting? They're like, oh, I don't know, I just want to get myself out there. I'm like, yeah, but what's your goal? You know what I mean? You haven't finished your mixtape. You haven't got, your marketing system in place, in the sense of having somewhere where they can go get some content, and then they can sign up for something, and then you can build that relationship, and then you can make those sales on autopilot. And I'm like, what exactly are you promoting right there? Because a lot of people are just going to show up and be like, okay, the music's dope, but take a look around, there's not a lot much else going on here. Whereas if you go to like an artist page, for example, if you go to an artist website, and on the website they've got a whole bunch of content, they've got some lifestyle videos, they've got some lessons they've learned videos, and stuff that's just, it's about experience at the end of the day. Like, you want someone to come in and be like, oh, there's so much to learn about this person, as opposed to coming in and feeling like, okay, I've seen everything, I'm out.
Exactly.
So
much sense. It makes a lot of sense. I get that question a lot too. The question I get the most is, how do I promote myself online? And the way I feel is like, okay, if you ask the right questions, you'll get the right answers. And sometimes I joke around with them, and they'll say, how do I promote myself online? And I say, well, with your laptop.
Yeah. Vague questions, vague answers. Yeah, absolutely, man. Because people just need to. Questions are so important, especially if you get the time of day from someone who's important. Like, say for example, for an artist that's listening in, say for example you got 5 minutes with Diddy, right? Most people would probably be like, can you check out my mixtape, or some long-winded question or something, instead of like just saying like, right, just questions that make sense. Questions like, how can I take this small fan base that I have and turn this 100 into 200? Really specific questions are what get specific answers.
Exactly.
And people,
That,
like, if they ask for tips, it's just like, I don't know what tips to give them. I don't know what stage they're in. I don't know what they've done already and things like that. It's just being like we say, specific is really key.
yeah, it is. It has to be specific, and usually I'll do like you said that you do with them. They'll ask me, how do I promote? So I start asking them a bunch of questions. What are your goals? What is it that you're trying to accomplish? What are you doing right now? How's your fan base look right now? Send me links to all your social media. Send me links to your website. Let me check everything out. Make sure, that I know who you are and your story, so I can understand how to tend to you personally, and not just give you some basic advice like promote on Twitter or put your music on YouTube, or that's something I try to steer away from, is giving just very basic advice to people that anyone can tell them, and then claim to be an expert. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. I actually speaking of how many experts there are, I actually did a video not long ago that was the new plague on social media, which is all the experts that are they're just pointing out the obvious, like you should, like you say, you should just promote yourself on Twitter. That's not fucking advice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That doesn't make anyone an expert. They're not saying stuff like go through hashtags, find people who are using hashtags that are relatable to your niche, and see if you can start building conversation there, or things like that. They're just saying go on Twitter.
Yeah. Post your links on Twitter and post your links on Facebook, and make sure you add in 38 emojis too. So
yeah, because I saw you post something. I think it was like a week or two ago about you would bought someone's course just out of curiosity to see what they put in there, and they just gave the most basic ass advice in the world.
Oh my God, it was horrible, and that's serious. What you saw, that was the whole ebook. That post was the whole ebook. No lie, I didn't make that up. That was a real ebook, and I couldn't believe it. I was like, "What is this? Did I really just spend this money on this?" It was messed up, man. It was crazy.
See it everywhere, though, man. But what do you feel like is the most fatal mistake the artists are making?
Most fatal mistake. All right. From my experience, I see two fatal mistakes that artists make all the time. Mistake number one is promoting their music to the wrong audience. Mm-hmm. Mistake number two is ignoring the needs and interests of their audience. I notice a lot of artists are focused on promoting their music to other artists and networking with other artists, and other artists aren't their audience. They're in the same boat. They have similar goals. They want the same attention. Artists need to promote their music to actual music lovers who aren't trying to compete with them. And the artists who are promoting to the right audience are ignoring what their audience is actually interested in. So that's the second problem. And I see artists all day long who post about themselves all day long on social media. And what they need to understand is that people don't know who you are. They don't care to hear anything about you if they don't know who you are, which is why the relationship building process is so important. Again, they should take their focus off of themselves and focus on their fans.
Absolutely. Yeah, because it's something that like I put out the other day was people should use we instead of I a lot more. So things like we just hit 1,000 views, or we're doing this, or we made it, and things like that, and just really bring other people in. And it's like people give people what they want to give them, and that's a huge mistake. You've got to, like you say, you've got to figure out what they want and what they need, as opposed to forcing your own agenda on people. And I think it just comes. I think there's just a lot of confusion in this game, because one, there's all those plentiful of gurus online that are telling them some whatever, but then there's also the people who just watch people and don't ask questions. So they'll see, say for example, anyone. It could be you, it could be me, it could be anyone, and we might be moving a certain way, and they'll just sort of like try and emulate it instead of understanding why we're doing what we're doing.
Exactly. And I'm not gonna lie, I've made that mistake in the past. That's something I've made a mistake of in the past, is I tried to reverse engineer what somebody else was doing, right? Without knowing the reason why they were doing it. So you can try to do what someone else is doing, and you can see what they're doing on the surface, but if you don't know the actual purpose behind what they're doing, you're not going to get the same result. You know, you're going to have a totally different result. Things are going to be different. And it's hard that way. If you don't come up with your own way to do things and do your homework and study and do what you have to do to figure this out, it's going to be difficult to make that happen. And that's just like you said, that's something they try to do, and they just need to stop.
You just need to stop, folks.
You just need to stop.
Don't do it no more. Because I think there's like like, say for example, if you're out there and you do emulate someone, right, and sometimes the results aren't going to look the same, because we only see a certain percentage of what people are doing. We don't know what people do behind the scenes too. So someone who might be posting, like, especially like in the beginning, I might have looked at stuff people were posting when I first started, and there was people just getting hundreds of likes on stuff, 200 likes, and I'd be like, that ain't that deep, and that ain't that. You know what I mean? I'm like, the stuff I'm putting out is a lot more, in depth and stuff like that. And I'd be pissed off, and I'd be like, oh, nah, man, alright, let me just start posting this basic ass. But what I don't know what else they're doing. I don't know if they're in people's inboxes every day, hitting up 100 people every day, showing love, building people up and stuff like that, so that when those people see them on the news feed, they're like, oh, like, straight away. You know, there's so much that we don't see the people are doing. And I think that, asking questions, people need to ask questions instead of assuming, and I think it's just going to benefit them a lot.
Yeah, that's 100% agree. It's something that, there's a thing that these artists do, which is they want to rush into things. They want instant results with everything. They think that there's this magic pill that they can take that'll bring them thousands of fans or thousands of listeners or thousands of sales, or whatever it is that they're trying to make happen. And there's really no magic pill. It's really about putting in the effort and having the right audience. It's really simple. Yeah. It's simple, but it's not easy. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's simple. The process is simple, but it's not easy to make happen right away, and it's not going to happen right away. They see these other artists that seem to blow up overnight, but they don't blow up overnight. We don't see what happens behind the scenes. We don't see how much work they've been putting in for years. We just see them on the news one day or on the radio or wherever on TV, and we think, oh, damn, they blew up overnight and they're whack, and that's not how it is. They put in work. Yeah. And absolutely, if you want that, you got to do the same things they were doing and put in that work, and you could be in that position and change the game.
Absolutely. Because I think a lot of people are just like you said, they just want it instantly. Just so they'll put all their eggs in one basket. They'll put all their they'll go all in on the first hand without even looking at their card, so to speak. Which I guess goes back to what you were saying in the beginning about how people need to spend time getting to know who they are and what they represent and what they have to offer. And there's a quote that I heard a long time ago, which was not having a plan, not having a strategy, not knowing what you're doing is the equivalent of going into the woods and just taking a shot anywhere in the woods and expecting a deer to run into it.
Oh man, yeah, that's exactly what it sounds like too.
For real. And just take your time, folks. Like, this is you got to be willing to put in some work that may not pay off for the next 3 years. You might not make a dime off for the next 3 years, and just knowing that and having faith in, if you do the right things, because I'm a big believer that if there's 20 steps to get somewhere, if you take those 20 steps, you'll get there. You know what I mean? And if people try and skip steps, then they're going to be missing things. They're going to be not covering certain angles, and that's why a lot of people, like, say for example, I say all the time in the podcast, but when people go viral and they haven't got their shit ready, it's not the making of them, it's the breaking of them publicly. They've just got this huge audience watching them now, just where they've rushed ahead, or maybe they weren't ready. I think people just need to spend time building their system right, so that every move you make is potentially monetized. It's potentially getting a subscriber, potentially getting a email lead, or just having that system in place that just makes every move worth it. Because my thing is once you've got the system in place, marketing becomes fun. It's like, what can I do today? What can I create? What ideas can I put out there? Who can I work with to just bring traffic in? Because when you've got that traffic coming in, they're going straight through the funnel and they're getting the whole experience, and everything's basically running on autopilot for you.
Exactly. It's, I've been waiting for that moment for myself. I'm almost done with some stuff, and I have my system ready and in place, and I'm just waiting to finish the product. And I just know what's coming next.
Yeah.
Because I know how much work I've put in to make all of this happen, and it's exactly like you said. If you have the system in place, everything's easy after that. Once the system is in place, and you have, for an artist, you have your CD or whatever your product is, and you have everything ready, but the system is what sells everything. It's not about doing this, posting a link on Facebook and on Twitter and making a YouTube video and then sending a few messages out and posting in 300 Facebook groups. It's not about that. It's about consistency, constantly having
100%.
a system. Yeah, a system that's automatic, working for you at all times while you're sleeping.
Absolutely.
And it's possible for artists to do that. People look at us, people like me and you, and they'll say, well, you guys are marketers, you know what to do, and it's easy for you to sell stuff because people want the information you want, or the information you're selling. We're artists. Everyone is a music lover. Everyone's not a marketing lover.
Yeah.
So their audience is a lot bigger than ours.
100%.
And that tells you that they have the potential to make a lot of money, to make a living, whether it be with merchandise or music or, whatever it is that they have that they're trying to sell. Even information products. That's something artists should be getting into. There's a few of them out there that are doing it, but I think more artists need to get into that.
100%, man. I think, just selling music is just round the corner, man. This whole selling a mixtape thing, round the corner, is going to be dead. You know what I mean? I think mixtapes aren't even going to be that prevalent in the next, 5, 10 years. I think even if we look at Drake, who's, the trailblazer right now, who's pushing the game forward, Drake is releasing his next project as a playlist. He's not putting an album name on it. He's not he'll have a name for the playlist or whatever, but he's not putting the actual name of album or mixtape on there. It's playlist, because where are people listening to this stuff? They're streaming it.
They're streaming it. Exactly. And, I just read recently from Forbes magazine, Forbes.com, that Chance the Rapper exclusively, a lot of artists don't know that he exclusively released his album, I believe it was Coloring Book, his mixtape, Coloring Book, exclusively on Apple, the streaming, Apple Music. And no physical copies, nothing. And he ended up in number 8 on the top 200 for on the billboards.
That's crazy. All independent too.
Exclusively for streaming. He didn't put it out in stores. He didn't even allow Apple to sell digital copies. It was all streaming. It wasn't on iTunes, And he ended up on number 8 on the top 200 for, I believe it was hip hop R&B charts or something like that. And this tells you it's possible, completely independent. He's turned everyone down for deals, and he's doing it all on his own. and it's completely possible. And he did it all. He's doing it all online. He's doing it now. Of course, he's doing his thing outside too. He's doing his shows, and he's doing, because a lot of artists think that they can just get on Facebook and blow up off of Facebook or blow up off of YouTube or SoundCloud or something like that. It's not how it works. There's other things that need to be done. It's like a machine. If you have this machine and there's missing parts, the machine's not going to work. You got to have all the parts to this machine for it to work the right way. And a lot of artists have only bits and pieces of the machine, and they're putting together. And then on top of that, they take the bits and pieces of the machine and put it together wrong. The piece they do have, so it's hard. It's hard for them, and I understand that, and that's why I do what I do.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And I think maybe when we first started getting into what we got into, and the people who were coming, it's only just been recently that there's been a lot of people out here giving information and stuff like that. We've had to, especially in hip hop, right? We've had to go outside of hip hop and get information outside of hip hop and figure out in our heads, right, how are we gonna use this general marketing, or this marketing that's selling someone's clothes, or this marketing that this company's using to sell their, I don't know, refrigerators or something. How can we frame this and put this into something that's gonna help with music? And for all the artists out there, and even producers, man, like, take this information that you're learning, whether it's from us or from someone else that you feel like is genuine and valid, and actually do this shit. Don't just think, yeah, I know some stuff now. Because I think that's a big problem that people have, is there's just so much information. Like, I tell people stuff all the time, like, say for example, what you need to do is you need to get, say, an email sign up, or you need to get some kind of return for, putting your mixtape out or something along those lines. And they'll be like, yeah, I know, bro. And I'm like, yeah, well, if you fucking know, then fucking do it. You know what I mean?
Exactly. What are you asking me for if you know?
I know.
Oh shit!
Get it all the time, man. Like that's the thing. Is like, people think there's some way around the hustle. They think there's some way around the grind. Like, they're gonna find some secret, or someday something's gonna blow up for them, or someone's gonna come along and say, you know what, I rate your movement, so here's 2 million. Do whatever you want with that 2 million to make yourself blow up. Don't worry about giving me the money back. You know what I mean? And even if someone put 2 million in an artist's hands right now, I guarantee that 99.999% still ain't gonna be able to blow off that 2 million, because they're not doing the right stuff in the first place. They don't know how to turn $100 investment with their music into $200 for the most part. So what are they gonna do with 2 million?
Exactly. Blow it.
Exactly. Like, right, I get the rapper starter kit. I get my gold chain. I get my car, and all that stuff, instead of thinking, right, let me build the infrastructure of what I do. Let me hire some people to build the best artist website you've ever seen. Let me get someone creating content for me. All I've got to do is show up, sit in front of the camera, blah, blah, blah. Exactly. And content's the way forward now, man. I think the people fight it. They say, I don't really like being on camera, or I don't really like writing a lot of stuff. It's like, there's a lot of stuff that I don't like to do on a daily basis. There's nothing that I love about sitting down and writing 1,500 words. I'm like, yeah, I'm not sat there thinking, yeah, I love typing. I'm not thinking that shit, you know what I mean? I'm just like, right, this is something that I have to do in order to progress my brand and to bring people towards me and give myself, or give other people let other people see the value that I have to offer. I have to sit in front of these cameras and record these videos. I'm a pretty antisocial person, man. Like, on my daily basis, if I see someone that I know, I'll be like, oh, what's up, man? Yeah, cool. How you been? Keep it moving, you know what I mean? I'm not a very social person, but I force myself to sit in front of these cameras. I force myself to write these posts. I force myself to do everything I do, because I know if I don't do it, nothing's gonna happen for me. And it's not about what we'd like to do and what we want to do and what we feel like doing. That's winners don't say that stuff. Winners don't say, "Oh, I don't want to do it, so I'm not gonna do it." Winners say, they may not even be like, "Yeah, let's do it." You know what I mean? They might be like, "Right, it's what I gotta do, so let me do it." You know?
Exactly. It's, and you're right. Writing isn't easy. Writing content isn't the easiest thing in the world. And it's not about that. It's not that it's not easy. It's that you got to have a structure to your content, and that's probably what's the hardest thing to put together is the structure of the content. Because the writing words is easy. Typing them out or whatever. But the thing is, when you're trying your hardest to give the best information possible. It's like an artist. They're trying their hardest to make the best song possible. And sometimes people get writer's block, and sometimes people, don't feel like it one day. And just like you said, whether you feel like it or not, it's something you have to do if you want to succeed. And you got to get up and at least do one thing every day to get you closer to your goal. And that's something that I tell artists all the time. And I say, if you really want this, get up and do one thing a day. At least one thing that gets you closer to your goal. Don't let this day pass you by without doing at least one thing. And what that does is that trains your subconscious mind, that rewires your mind to start doing more of those things, to be able to do more than just one thing each day to get closer to your goal. And by the time you know it, you reached your goal, and you're so excited about it because each step is a small success that you gain, and every time you get a small success, it motivates you more to try to get more success. So you just keep moving forward from there. But if you don't take any action, or if you try to take too much action, you're going to feel overwhelmed. You're going to feel, depressed, or whatever it is that people feel when they're going through something, and you just quit. And a lot of artists are in that in-between mode where they're like, okay, I seen another artist, I think it was 2 days ago, and he said, I'm ready to, he sent me a message. He said, Johnny, I make real good music. It's hard for me to get anyone's attention. I'm ready to just quit this music shit. I listened to his music, and he had good music. He wasn't lying. A lot of artists will say, oh, I got the shit, and that's exactly what they got.
The shit.
Yeah.
The dude.
Exactly. And he told me his life story. And I listened, and I let him know, look, you haven't failed. The moment you fail is the moment you give up. And if you give up on yourself after all this hard work you put in, what was the point? The purpose? What was of wasting all this time in your life just to come to this moment and say, I give up now? I mean, that's crazy. There's no way in hell that I'm going to work so hard towards something and then just give up. The only thing that's going to stop me is death. So, and I guess he felt a little motivated then, and he, started doing a few things, and I haven't talked to him since. I'm kind of curious now to probably might check him out after this podcast, so see how he's doing. But yeah, it's just people got to get up and work.
Exactly. I think people, because they see a lot of artists out there making huge moves, right? They're convinced they've got to make huge moves all the time, so they got to put 5,000 on a music video, and then they've got to do a tour, and then they've got to do but it's not, man. It's small micro actions, man. It's like the smallest things. It's like putting out a piece of content, and then making sure you sit down and with copywriting, write it down and in a way that makes people more inclined to share it. It's learning how to do things like that. It's noticing, paying attention to people who are liking your stuff. Like I've got a notebook, and I keep it with me all the time. And if I notice someone's been liking my stuff, quite a lot recently, I write their name down, and then eventually I'm thinking up ideas, right? How am I going to reward these people? And it's just little things like that. You don't have to make huge moves and break the bank every day. It's just, pay what you need to when you need to. If you got to learn something, or if you got to invest in something, you might have to pay for that stuff. But it's not, it doesn't have to rinse your bank account all the time. It doesn't have to mentally exhaust you all the time. There are going to be times when you get exhausted, and people will get those blowouts where you think, you know what, I don't know who I am right now. But they're those times, man. They're those times where, okay, maybe you can't deal with your situation as you are today, but then you just find some strength in you. You know what I mean? And that's a sign to level up. If you ever can't deal with anything in life, man, there's no clearer sign ever to that you need to level up right now and deal with this shit.
Exactly. Makes so much sense, man. A lot of sense.
But for you, what's been the key in building that audience? Because it's something that a lot of people find difficult, right? Is the audience thing. What's been the key for you in building and helping that audience thrive?
For me, I would have to say that consistency and my ability to understand the needs of the artists that follow me, and most importantly, putting my content in front of the right audience. It's kind of crazy because when I first started out, no one paid attention to anything I had to say. I would write a blog post or a status on Facebook, and the only engagement I got was crickets. And I was like, what the hell's going on? But the mistake I made was being in a hurry and just adding anyone and everyone to my friend list. I knew that I was doing it the wrong way, and it wasn't the right way to do it, but I was so excited about getting started that I rushed into it. And I said, I just got to start adding people and get my information out there, And the most important thing artists need to understand is that we're dealing with humans, people with emotions, and everyone wants to feel like they're understood and like they're part of something bigger. People want to make personal connections with people. And I'm constantly doing research and asking my followers a lot of questions. And the key to keeping an audience that's always engaging with your content is to give them what they want. It's really that simple. Not what you believe they want. Give them what they actually want, right? And the only way to know what they really want is through research and just asking them. Ask one or two people every day, hey, what do you like reading about? It's really that simple. You don't have to, it's not like you have to go through some crazy process to find out what people like. And just ask them, and when you give them what they want and what they need, you start to build a personal bond with them, which makes them feel like they can trust you. And that's where that thriving audience comes in. That's where the audience starts to become loyal and they start to share everything. And it happened pretty quick for me once I stopped being in a hurry.
It did. All of a sudden you just whirlwind, man. It was like one day you just showed up, man. Everyone's like, oh, Johnny Fame this, Johnny Fame that. I was like, oh, who's this? Checked you out. And I noticed you had said something on your timeline about you'd only been doing it, I think at the time it was like 3 months, and I was like, that's impressive, that. But that is those years of, sitting back and strategizing and getting clear and figuring out who you are and what you have to offer, Maybe if you had tried putting yourself out there on the scale that you do now back then, it wouldn't have worked, but it's worked perfectly now.
Yeah, I agree. It wouldn't have worked back then. It's almost like the universe put me in a position that I needed to be in right when I needed to be in it. It set everything up perfectly. It's really weird how things work.
Yeah. There's a lot of unanswerable stuff out there, that that I'm not a religious person, and I am quite spiritual to an extent, and then there's certain things that you're just like, what, and I'm analytical, so I'll always try and figure shit out, and I'll always be like, right, there has to be some logic here, but there's some things that there's just no logic to, and exactly. There's no reasons, and yeah, it definitely sounds like that's what happened for you. But I just wanted to touch on as well, I thought it was something funny when you were saying about how, people will force people to take what they want to give them as opposed to what the person wants. It's kind of like going into a restaurant and ordering the steak, and then the waiter comes out and says, "Oh, we got the fish for you," and you say, "Well, no, actually, I ordered the steak," and they're like, "Well, I don't care. We've got the fish for you. You better eat your fucking fish."
Exactly. That's what it's like.
Yeah.
That's exactly, that's the perfect example. Artists are giving their audience fish and they want steak.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
And it's like that, you know, when you see the artists, they're like, fuck you all, blah, blah, blah. That's like saying, right, because you don't want this fucking fish, I don't care if you order steak, you don't want this fucking fish, get out of my restaurant. I like to, little analogies like that, helps, because a lot of people can't see themselves. So when you say like, there's a lot of people, like I'll post a status or something and say something like, well, I don't know, it'll be a status that you need X and X to be able to do X, and they'll be like, yeah, right, and I'm thinking, I know you don't have X and X, you know what I mean? But
Exactly.
they people can't see themselves, like especially in hip hop, man. It's crazy scene. I had a guy hit me up once. He was in rock and he had just come over to hip hop, and he had spammed me, and I said, "Yo, bro, do me a favor, don't spam me." You know what I mean? And he was like, "Oh shit, you hip hop guys are mean." I was like, "What you mean?" He's like, "Well, in rock, everyone's loving, everyone's supportive, they want to see you do well. As soon as I came over to hip hop, everyone's like, fuck you this, don't do that." You know, it's but I think that it was always, hip hop was always raised as a competitive environment. You know what I mean? It was always who's the best on the block, who's the best in the town, who's the best in the city, who's the best in the state, who's the best in the world. You know,
Exactly.
it's always been that. And I just think that a lot of people would just benefit with it, the just looking themselves in the mirror and being like, you know what, I ain't doing shit right. You know?
Yeah. I'm glad we don't act like that, man.
Yeah.
So, what podcast? Fuck your podcast.
I'm bringing out a podcast. This is directly competition to me. No fucking way.
Are you crazy or something or what?
Oh man.
Yeah, there's I don't believe in competition. I believe in collaboration.
Yeah.
Competition exists, obviously. The reality, the truth, you and I would be considered competition. You sell the type of things that I would sell, and I'm going to be selling the type of things that you would sell. We have the same types of information. We teach the similar things, but what does that matter? There's enough room for everyone, and this right here is how you grow.
Yeah.
The way what we're doing right now at this moment, I can grow from you, you can grow from me, and it benefits. It benefits everyone. It's if I was to sit here and say, okay, he wants me on his podcast, why would I do that? He's my competition.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
It doesn't make no sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because the moment this drops, there's going to be a bunch of people from your end who follow me. There's going to be a bunch of people from my end who follow you, and someone's not like, say someone, one of the people who follows you comes and adds me. They're not going to be like, yo, Eskimo's, he posts dope shit. Fuck Johnny Fame now. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I ain't fucking with Johnny Fame no more because I met a new guy that says, give some marketing insight. It's not like that.
Exactly.
Everyone has their own thing to offer. There's people that you speak to in your certain way that my way ain't gonna reach. Point blank period. They're not gonna resonate with something. They might not like my delivery, and vice versa. And all we can do from working together is amplify each other's stuff. It's the same with, like, I try and bring as many people as possible and link up and collaborate with each other, because it's all about a network too.
Exactly. There has to be. I mean, it's artists are constantly. I see so many artists, man. I'm pretty sure you see it all the time too. They're just, everyone's always fighting. There's always constant heads bumping somewhere for some reason. This person said this or this person said that, and oh my God, I get tired of it. It's even happened to me. To me specifically, there's other people out there there's people, I didn't know that this would ever happen to me, but there's some people out there that do not like me, you know. And I did not realize that I would ever put myself in a position to help people, and then for people to not like the fact that I'm helping people. And it's hard to wrap my head around, and it happens, you know, and it doesn't make any sense to me, you know, because I feel like anyone can do the things that we do. All they have to do is do it.
I've got this theory on why people dislike people who are doing stuff right. It's because they recognize that you're doing it right, and the results show, right? When you post something and it blows up on the news feed, it's because it's right. You know, when you post content and you get a bunch of views, it's because it's right. Now, someone might be doing it an opposite way to you and getting it wrong. So for them to admit that you're getting it right, they have to admit, oh shit, that means I'm getting it wrong. And not a lot of people are willing to say, you know what, I'm wrong. Because, hey, you know what haters are, man. It's just so... It's just people who are jealous. It's people who wish they had what you had. It's people who, you know, want to be in the position you're in and stuff like that. And these are things, you know, obviously, but obviously for the audience, for anyone out there having haters and that, man. I always say that supporters make you rich and haters make you famous, man.
They definitely do. I've learned that real quick.
Yeah. So I was talking to someone on a podcast the other week that it's like I've never seen anybody post a Little Yachty song or a Little Uzi Vert song and say, yo, this is dope. I've only ever seen people post and say, what's this trash? What's this whackness? I've never seen someone say, yo, this is dope. You guys should check this out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you know, and that's actually spreading the word about them still.
Yeah.
You know, they're still spreading the word. They say this is trash, take a listen, and then say 10 people listen and 8 of them like it. It's not trash to them. And then they spread the word some more. You know, it's a chain reaction. I noticed that a lot, that negativity about a person or something causes more people to interact and engage with that person that's being spoken negative about. And that's how the whole hater system works. You get hated on, it brings you more followers and whatever else it is, because people want to know. They want to know, hey, who is this guy that they're talking about? Let me go find out for myself and make my own judgment.
Yeah, for real. Go ahead. Didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, and if you're you know, a stand-up guy, obviously they're gonna be like, oh, well, what the hell is this person talking about? You know what I mean? And they're gonna stick around.
Absolutely, because I saw a guy. I don't know his name, but what he's been doing is he's been telling everybody on his Facebook that he's Lil Wayne's cousin, and he's signed to Cash Money, and he's been like getting pictures and photoshopping himself into pictures. And
I know exactly what you're talking about.
And like everybody's sharing the shit, and like saying, "Oh, this guy is a fool," blah blah blah. But then there's a whole bunch of people, because he's doing it. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's not doing it to like try and convince people that he's Lil Wayne's cousin. He's doing it because he knows from experience that people are sharing that shit. People are putting him out there saying this guy's a fool. He thinks he's Lil Wayne's nephew or whatever, and blah blah blah. But you know, people are sharing that. I saw like 200, 300 shares on the photo of him, and it's all people taking the piss, but it's people coming through and saying, okay, no, I get it, I'll play along, I'll play with a joke, you know.
Well, and the truth is, it is a joke, because I seen a video where he's admitting that he is really not Lil Wayne's nephew. There's an actual video on YouTube where he's actually admitting that. And it's a very... I'm not even going to mention where to find the video, because it has something to do with someone that I don't want to deal with and don't pay attention to, you know. But the dude, he does admit that he's that it's all fake, and he tells you why he did it and so on and so forth, you know. But yeah, it's negativity, positivity, all of it. Anything could get attention. And you can use these things to your advantage, you know. It's always good to use these things strategically.
Yeah.
You know, I'm really high up on strategy. I'm always thinking about some kind of new way to do something, and you know, I can't even walk through a grocery store without getting an idea.
Mm, mm.
Anywhere I go, I walk anywhere. I go to a park. I'm driving. I hear something on the radio. It's like I make these connections with things, and all of a sudden, I come up with something new. Like last night, preparing for this podcast, right? I ran into a video, and it gave me a whole new idea for a whole new course. Something that I don't know why people haven't thought of this yet. And I was like, what is wrong with people? Is like, am I the only one seeing these things? And it's just crazy. It's crazy how the mind works sometimes, how you can make connections with different things. And it's just when you have the positive and the negative, and an artist or anyone, doesn't have to be an artist, but artist, promoter, hater, whatever, they speak on something negative, it just brings you more attention and more attention and more attention. And I noticed that it seems like the negative gets you attention from the outside, people outside of your circle, but the positive gets you attention from people inside of your circle.
Mm-hmm.
And I can say something, post something on Facebook, and some people might get offended, and I'll notice my friends, people unfriending me. I'll make a joke or something. I don't know if you've noticed, I've been making a lot of these Lil Wayne be like.
Okay. I think I've seen a couple of those, yeah.
Yeah, I've put a lot of those little jokes up, like Lil Wayne be like, I put my grandma on speed dial, call that Instagram. Stuff like that, and I do that, just to entertain, just to make people laugh, and give them a little something different than always giving them constant, marketing information, marketing knowledge, and teaching marketing. So some people like Lil Wayne. I love him too. I'm a fan of him, but they don't understand that I'm doing this because I'm a content marketer, and they take offense to it. All you do is talk shit about Lil Wayne, and then they unfriend me. Really? Are you serious?
Oh, man.
It's all about marketing your content, and everything I post is I'm either trying to accomplish one of two things. I'm either doing research when I post something, or I'm trying to provide knowledge. So it's either I'm trying to get something or I'm trying to give something. And that's what I do almost every single day, is either try to get something or give something. And when I'm trying to get something, it appears as if I'm trying to give, because when I'm asking a question, that's putting the focus on them, right? And everyone loves to talk about themselves, right? Everyone loves to, that's why interviews are so great, because someone will talk about themselves for hours. If you were to sit here and keep this button recording, you wouldn't be able to get rid of me. I'd be sitting here talking all day. And if it's vice versa, if I was asking you the questions, it'd be the same exact way. You'd love to explain what you do and why you do it and how you do it, and because it's something you have passion for. And it's exciting, man. This is all exciting to me, and I can't wait for what's coming next. It's really exciting.
Yeah, man. Because you recently left your job, was that right?
Oh yeah, fuck them people.
Full-time Johnny Fame. Johnny Fame's going full-time. So what's changing for you since obviously you've left that job? Now you've got a lot more time and you've got a lot more headspace to be able to think straight. What's changing around you?
The main things that's changed is my productivity. I'm able to get a lot more done. My audience is growing a lot faster since I'm able to put more time into it. I'm able to network with more people and build beneficial relationships, something I wasn't able to do with the job. It gave me a lot of free time to work on content and to be able to do things like this podcast. I wouldn't have been able to do this if I was still working my job. And if I did do it, it would be something that I was not really excited about because I was tired. Working made me tired. And I was actually planning on quitting my job for a while. It's not just something I did out the blue. So I don't want anyone listening out there to think that get up and quit your job and go broke, hungry, and homeless. That's not what I did. I took a calculated risk. I knew that if I wanted to have any real success, that I was going to have to put more time, effort, and focus into this brand. And I had this all planned out. I saved up money to be able to have for bills, to be able to have for rent, to be able to have for food, and I told myself, once I have this amount of money, I'm quitting that job. And I'm going to walk out in style.
Let balloons out. Have some balloons in the bushes and get someone to just let the balloons go as you walk out the building and play some theme music.
That's exactly, and I knew that this is something I needed to do, and I wanted to dedicate myself to this 100%. Because there was a time I was working so much. I was working a third shift job. So I was working from 8 o'clock at night till 6 in the morning. And I'll go home, go to sleep, wake up. Couldn't do nothing on Facebook, couldn't write anything, couldn't do anything. I had to go back to work, And there was like 3-4 weeks straight where I didn't post anything on Facebook. And I was getting messages, where are you at? Why haven't you been posting? And this it bugged me. So, quitting that job was probably one of the best choices I've ever made. Because I know what's coming next. I know what's going to happen next after I get these things done and everything put into place the way it needs to be.
Yeah, man. 'Cause one thing I know for sure is when you're putting the products out and everything, anyone who's listening, man, you need to get them. Of course, you gotta follow Johnny Fame 100% on Facebook. It's spelled as it sounds, Johnny Fame, and you need to get the products when they come out, because the one thing you can definitely say about Johnny Fame is it's in depth and it's backed by research. It's not some crazy theory. It's not some regurgitated information. This is analytical, and as he said in the beginning, he likes to deal with the psychological aspect of marketing and things along that line. It's stuff that, it's not going to be like that ebook that you got that was like, go on Twitter and promote your music. It's going to be in-depth stuff. So anybody listening in, make sure, whether you're listening in the future, down the line it'll probably be out. If you're listening right now, then what you need to do is go add Johnny on Facebook, Johnny Fame, and make sure that you're around ready for when that drops, because I promise you it's going to change everything for you.
Appreciate that. Appreciate it very, very much. It's there's something there's a quote that I keep on my wall. And it says to make sure to give information that helps my followers understand and move forward with anything I write, right? So my goal is to always make everything easy to understand and make sure that everything is always backed up by real statistics, real research, things that are actually going on in the world and things that have been tested and studied. And even when they are tested and when they have been studied, I even test them out to see what's going on. I have artists behind the scenes that are using strategies that I don't talk about. So that way I have proof that what I'm going to be teaching works, And, I was afraid at first. I was like, damn, should I be telling them this? Are they going to go out and try to sell it? But I can't think like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. I can't think that way because then I'll never move forward. So, some artists just fall off and stop talking. They don't really go for it and they don't try, and but there's so many things that can be done to move forward on the internet with your music. And for everyone that's out there listening, you really have to, again, like I said, you have to understand yourself first as an artist and know what you have to offer. Because when you know what you have to offer, then you know what type of people you need to attract. Because people get along with and like people that are similar to them. You don't get along with somebody that you don't have, a connection with. So it's important to know who you are and why you do what you do, and then find out where you can find more people like you. And that's where your audience is going to be, where there's more people like you. So for example, if you're a skater kid and you rap, who's your audience? Your audience would be other skater kids, because they can connect with you on that level. They can relate to you, right? If you're a gothic rapper, who's your audience? Go to the goth audience, right? And then you can connect with them because they can relate to you. You guys have the same type of interests, right? Like, if the best example I can give, if you're a Christian rapper, would you go out and try to sell your music to Satanists? Would that make any sense?
Yeah, for real, man. It's like taking, say you do old school sample boom bap. It's like promoting in say if someone was going to do in a Facebook group, it's like going to promoting trap music, if that's a group, and posting in some old school boom bap. It's people ain't gonna be digging it. People ain't gonna be feeling it. And I always say, like, say for example, with that example of the skater kid who raps, should promote skater kids. Now the best place to go is wherever the skaters are. So whether it's forums or groups or places on the internet or YouTube channels that you can get in the comment section of, where skating videos as opposed to rap videos.
Exactly.
Speak to skaters as skaters, and then down the line they'll be like, "Oh, you make music? Oh yeah, you didn't tell me." Well, it's just what I do.
Yeah.
Type of thing. I think you gotta appeal to someone on that level of, look, we have this in common as humans, before you say, check out my music.
Yeah, exactly. That's usually how it works, and it's, if I could remember this quote I saw by Chance the Rapper. It said something along the lines of, oh man, if I could remember what it said something along the lines of being human and making a connection with people. They didn't care for the music at first. They cared about the connection they made with him. His music makes part of the connection. That's only 50% of it. The other 50% is making that personal connection. People only hear your music and they see the surface of you. They don't really know you as an artist. They make their judgment based on what they hear in the music, right? Mm-hmm. And what your social media can do for you, and emails and your blog, what that does for you is that shows the other 50% of you, the real side of you. That's what you use to show the real side and build a personal connection with. And he talked about that in an interview, I believe it was with Forbes, and it made a lot of sense.
Yeah, because the most important part is what's on the front end of the click. Like, what people focus on is what's after the click. So they'll focus on the music, or they'll focus on the product or whatever. But it doesn't matter how good that product is, it doesn't matter how good that music is. The hard part and the real battle is getting that click. And that's where the relationship building and the building up the brand and the marketing, the most important aspects in terms of actually getting out there, that's going to get you the click in the first place. And I think that's what as long as you get your music to a level where it's like, it speaks for itself. Because people say, let my music speak for itself. And it can, but behind a closed door, in a soundproof room, it might be talking to itself.
Exactly. That's so true. It's true that because I've heard that a lot. That's something I hear a lot of artists say. My music speaks for itself. And I haven't yet to ask what do they mean. I'm gonna ask them one day. I'm gonna ask them, what is it that you mean when you say your music speaks for itself? Because if I took a CD and threw it out in the middle of the street, cars are going to run it over. It ain't going to do no speaking. No one's going to stop and pick that CD up.
Yeah,
and
it's not screaming, don't run me over. Don't run me over.
And it's somebody takes this CD, puts it in their car, puts it in their stereo, wherever they put it in their CD player, and they listen to it and say they like it, but then they can't find you on social media, or they can't find you, anywhere online, or say they do find you, but you haven't been updating your social media. Your latest post was 8 months ago. Your latest song was 2.5 years ago. And then they look at things like, okay, well, he only got 18 YouTube views. Those are all turnoffs. People say, okay, well, look, this guy must not be important. What's really what's the key here is that people tend to do what other people are doing. People tend to do what other people are doing, and that's how things spread, right? So, for example, you're a high school kid, and you see this group of popular kids, and you see what they're listening to, you see what they wear, you see who they hang out with. Now you want to do the same thing if you're one of those type of kids that, wants to be part of the crew. Now everybody wants to be part of a certain crew. Everyone wants to be part of something, everyone wants to feel like they're part of something. And when they finally see, so that kid's listening to that popular group of kids is listening to your CD, right? And that's going to make other kids want to listen, because that popular kid is considered an influencer. There's influencers everywhere. You don't have to just have thousands of followers on social media. You could have big popularity in school, and that makes you an influencer. So that kid has the ability to spread your music without even knowing it. And people are going to do what he does just because he is who he is. People are going to want what he has because he is who he is. They're going to want to be like him because he is who he is. And this works everywhere. It could be anywhere, any place. There's influencers everywhere. And people are more likely to listen to something that comes from someone they know and trust. And people do what other people do. And it's a proven fact that people do what other people are doing. So it's like you hear the song on the radio, and the radio to everyone is like an authority, right? And everyone's listening to this music. My girl's daughter, she sat here one day and she said, I like that song because all of my friends at school like it. And she's only 6. And this is what other people do, except they don't speak it out the way she did, Yeah. And other people do this all the time. They do things because other people are doing them. That's what is it called? It's social. I forget the word. Um, well, the point is, people do what other people do because other people are doing it, and that's what makes everyone connect.
For real, man. And I think it kind of comes full circle, just going back to, you know, being able to find yourself and like just those influence. Like, say for example, where you said with your girl's daughter, where she was just like songs because her friends in school like songs, and I think the best way to find yourself, and it's something I did, was just kind of take myself away from everyone and everything. And it kind of came with the territory and getting because I got so busy with what I'm doing, I stopped going out so much. And I think a lot of people would benefit to take themselves out of the mix for a little while and just pay attention. You know what I mean? And watch how people are moving. And that's essentially where all this stuff starts, is us taking ourselves out of the picture. And, you know, where you had, say for example, you had that period where you were just sort of learning stuff and figuring stuff out and finding out who you were, instead of always being in the mix and always influenced by everything. Because one thing that a lot of artists do is they'll just hop on the bandwagon, right? So when a new rapper comes out, everybody starts making songs like them. Even producers will be like, this person type beat, and they'll try and replicate the beats and stuff like that. But if you look at someone like Chance the Rapper, who's completely unique and right now is the big name, you know, for today, you know, over the past week, 2 weeks at least, is the big name, winning all the awards, winning everything. That's someone who isn't emulating that popular style, you know, isn't doing the same thing that everybody's doing. Someone needs to go forward and push the bar forward and do something unique and do something different, and that's the people who last for a long time. And the people who just come in and be like, do their best impression of Future, or do their best impression of Drake, or their best impression of whoever, are just an impression, and people will be like, oh yeah, that's dope, but it's only going to last so long.
Exactly. Exactly. It and sometimes it doesn't get anywhere.
Yeah.
You know? Sometimes it doesn't get anywhere when you're trying to be like someone else. You know, it's the point is to do something different. Artists have to do and be different. If you put a grain of rice in a big bucket of thousands of other grains of rice, would you be able to identify which one is the one that you just put in there? Probably not. But if you throw a rock in that grain of rice, you can be able to pick it out real quick.
Oh yeah.
You know, so it's easier to stand out when you're looking different, acting different, performing different, sounding different. Different is what makes you stand out. Absolutely. Things that are similar don't stand out from each other. You know, what would we do if me and you went out to a convention one day to speak and we looked exactly the same, and we talked about the exact same thing in exact same words, right?
Mm-hmm.
What would that do? That wouldn't. People would be like, "Oh, these guys are just copying each other," you know. And
they just wouldn't know where to separate us.
Yeah, what's going to differentiate us? You know. So what is it that differentiates these artists? That's the question they have to ask themselves. Ask yourself, what makes me different, or what can I do different than everyone else is doing? I don't want to sound like this person or that person, or act like this person or that person. I want to be me and make people want to be like me. I want people to be like me. I don't want to try to be like someone else. That's how they have to think to themselves. Make people want to be like you. Don't try to copy and try to be like someone else, because that's a formula for failure.
100%, man. Well, you know what? That's been an absolutely dope episode, man. And as always, with Johnny Fame, it's always going to be in depth. It's always going to be plenty of analogies, plenty of metaphors. Like I say, everybody out there, you need to follow Johnny Fame. and you need to get into go on Facebook. And was it Music Marketing Insights? Is that the hashtag?
Yeah, Music Marketing Insight.
Yeah, man.
Is
So
the hashtag.
yeah, hashtag Music Marketing Insights. Go read up, and you'll just know straight away. You only got to see one of them to know that he's a very thorough dude. So make sure you're following him. I'm also going to put his links in the description if you're watching back on YouTube. Just want to thank you for coming through, bro. I just knew that you were someone that people needed, well, my audience needed to hear. Just to add that, slightly different perspective on things. And like you say, man, what the fuck is competition,
Exactly.
This is only gonna help not only the people listening in, but both of us and everything. And I really want to preach that to people. It's like, let's stop competing with each other. Let's stop hating on each other. Let's stop acting like we're better than this person, or that we deserve more than this person or that person or whatever. Let just like minds, find your like minds out there, man, and create content and create experiences and just build relationships with people. And I think that this podcast is really a testament to that idea, man.
Yeah, it's true. It's this podcast. I enjoyed this. This was actually pretty fun. And I hope we could do it again. And like you said, if you're out there listening, you're an artist, even if you're a promoter, someone that needs to know more about marketing just to be able to make your services better, follow me, because you're going to learn a lot. I post Music Marketing Insight every day, sometimes 7, 8 times, 9, 10 times a day. I do live videos where I actually listen to your music. One of my last videos got 10,000 views within 48 hours of just listening to the artist's music. And there was a lot of people listening in, and the artists are making a lot of connections with each other and networking with each other. I post a lot of videos with different strategies and techniques and formulas and things like that. And also my blog, make sure you come and check it out at hiphopmusicpreneur.com, and sign up for my newsletter, because you're going to get some really, really cool stuff in there pretty soon. And there's a lot of stuff there that you can get that you won't see me post on Facebook.
Good shit, man. So thanks again, man. Pleasure to have you on. I'm just hoping the people out there are really listening. So goodbye from me. It's Esskimo. It's the Get Rich Rapping podcast. Shout out to Johnny Frame. Peace and love.
Peace, bro.